Hi, everybody. Here we are. Welcome to 20Q, 20 Questions with Interesting People. I am your host, the very handsome Tim Kirk, and today's guest is raconteur, bon vivant, and man about town, Timo DeRitter. Hi, Timo.
Hey, Tim. How are you today?
Fine, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
I'm glad to have you here. And as you may or may not know, the format of the show was I asked 20 questions, 10 of which I ask every single guest, and the other 10 are questions they can select from a group of about 50 or more or so. And we're just going to get into it right now. Start off with the first question. A bit about your background. Where are you originally from, and what was it like?
Well, Tim, I was originally born in Belgium. That's Western Europe, just in the middle of France, above France, underneath the Netherlands, in a small town called Liedekerke, which is like 20 miles west from Brussels. Dutch-speaking little community, 10,000 people live there. It was nice growing up. Small town. We were playing on the streets all summer. Like, no stress of the big city. We didn't even know what big cities were. It was pretty cool living up there.
You know, it's funny, we met Philip's brother the other night. The class's friend Philip, his brother was there, and he said that his wife recognized your accent, your dialect.
Oh yeah, of course, because as small as our country is, dialects are very strong, and you can hear immediately by the way they speak Dutch from which part of the Flanders or Netherlands, because we share a language. They are, and like you hear it if somebody's from the coast, if they live more close to Germany, if they live more close to Brussels, you hear like a little French accent in their Dutch-speaking dialect. So I'm like in the center between everything. I never thought I had a huge accent in my dialect, but apparently people really know where I'm from when they know my language. So that's pretty cool, especially working in a Belgian restaurant. When you deal with Flemish Dutch-speaking customers, they immediately like, oh, you're from, and then they like the area where I'm from. So that's cool.
That's pretty interesting. I didn't know, and it was so funny how he was telling me how his wife immediately knew exactly. She knew exactly within the miles of where you were from, and I didn't know that it was so easily identifiable. But that's pretty fantastic. That's a great way to start off with people. I think, you know, if somebody can recognize that, we have an instant rapport or a bond or something.
Oh yeah, of course, because if you know a little bit about the country and you know a little bit about the regions, you can easily bond with somebody by hearing how they speak, go into the area where they live, find their interesting like background stories. So it helps a lot. Helps a lot. It's a little bit like here in New York when you hear somebody's accent and you know, oh, or they're like New Yorkers, or do you hear like a more southern accent, or do you hear a foreign accent in their English? That you hear like, oh, they're like French speakers with their English. It's easier to start a communication because by like only exchanging a couple of words, you know where somebody can be from, and it helps, especially in restaurant business, to create a mutual bond with somebody.
That's something else. It's terrific, I think. So I'm going to go on from that and go to the next question. It's a bit of a jump, but I want to know, especially someone who's from Belgium, which life experience had the greatest impact on you?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I would say there are like many experiences in my life that had impact. Some had positive impacts, others had negative impacts. Some negative experiences had positive impacts on my life. So like I feel like one of the most important ones definitely is meeting my husband around about 3 years ago. I was working on a music festival, Tomorrowland.
Oh, wait,
in
I
Belgium.
didn't know that.
Yeah, well,
okay.
I used to be a police officer back in Belgium. I was like doing security. My husband was there partying. He was there with friends from the States, and all of a sudden we got to talk to each other, like discussed a little bit. I was going on a holiday 1 week later to Greece, to like a small deserted island. And by coincidence, he was going to the same island a week later. without any like made plans between us, because we just met each other right on the music festival.
Awesome.
So we got in touch back on the island, and like the rest is history. 3 years later, I'm in New York, living a new life. Left my life in Belgium behind me. Well, left my professional life in Belgium behind me. Still see and hear my family and friends a lot. I like trying to make a new life as a like 30-year-old guy here in New York. So I would say that's like a positive experience that created a positive effect in my life.
Well, that's wonderful. I mean, that's a very great story to tell. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Some people call it like faith. I try to call it like just coincidence.
Okay.
I don't like something above me like deciding where my life path is taking me. So I think like two very experiences made in like 2 weeks time created like an entire new path in my life. So that's I think about it very often, how lucky I was right there to like experience that, and this right now today.
This is fantastic. I think as everybody I've spoken to so far, there's something to be said about forging your own path in life and how things change, and that's this is more reinforcing this.
Of course, yeah, because live events give you opportunities, but if you don't fight for it yourself, you're not gonna get anything out of it. You know, it's like
I agree.
Getting presented like a plate with a lot of elements and taking the elements out, taking the things from the plate that you like and that you think will give you the greatest benefit in life. You know, it's like always choosing and dealing, and you need to make sure that you made the right, or if you make a wrong decision, that you at least own up to it, and that you try not to make the same mistake and try to be a better person in the future. So yeah.
Very good. Now this question requires a bit of thought by most people. So the question is, what would you say to anyone interested in an aspect of your experience? Meaning, if someone wanted to explore an idea or prospective opportunity based on what you can tell them, what would be the main thing to encourage discouragement? Whether that be pursuing law enforcement or moving to a new country and starting your life again with a new person, or whatever it is, something that you could say that you have a distinctive perspective that you could offer an advice on or knowledge on. So if someone said, would you discourage or encourage them based on something that they know about you? What would you think? What would be the thing to tell them?
Meaning concerning an experience, right?
If someone wanted to explore a possibility,
okay. Well, like the experience we just discussed, I'm like still experiencing it right now. It's very new to me, so I don't feel like I want to give somebody advice on that one. What I did experience, though, many years ago in my 20th years was like being a gay person in Brussels is not always easy. Like you don't walk hand in hand with your boyfriend, husband, because it's like not seen, not done. And there are a lot of aggressions towards gay people.
Okay.
It happened to me in 3 occasions. It always made me... The first 2 times really put me down. I was still very young, early 20s. The last one was like in my later 20s. And like I try to put it in a place, meaning like if something like this happens to you, if somebody aggress you because of who you are, you know, like something that you didn't choose to be, like make it gay or make it like whatever that you don't have an impact about in your life, I put it in a positive place at that time, meaning like the person is ignorant, he doesn't know what is happening. I survived it, I came out well after like a couple of days of headache and like a scar that I'm still carrying on like luckily a place not too visible. But I took that as a power element in my life, meaning that I didn't hide myself, but I even showed myself more. Became more active in what I was doing. So I think that's what I want to give people with them. If you get attacked for who you are, give it a positive place in life and try to
So what would you say?
I'm looking for a word. I'm looking for my words right now.
Okay.
And try to engage on community level, engage on a civic level, engage on a social media level, whatever you think is best to tell your story, let other people who have the same story understand that they're not alone, and try to like be positive about it instead of like hiding yourself away. Tell your story. That's what I would say, if that makes sense.
I think that's a great piece of advice. Now, following that, as someone who's made a lot of changes in their lives and has gone through a number of experiences, what would you say is your most noteworthy achievement?
My most noteworthy achievement. That's a difficult one.
Well, you're going to school, you became a police officer.
I know, I really liked, I was never good in school in my first run, in my early 20s. I got some credits at university, but I was going through the entire, identity crisis. Who am I? Who I want to be? How do I see my life as, a young gay man? So I didn't do good at school at all. I was, the worst student ever. I didn't show up in classes. I flunked exams. So, I think once I got back into police academy, I went through the procedure without any problems. I went to police academy. I was, top of my class.
Very good.
And I would say that's one of my most achieving moments that I succeeded in full,
Well, there you go.
My current schooling is going well. I just finished my finals from my third semester at the BMCC. I'm right now at the Borough of Manhattan Community College, transferring to John Jay in 2 semesters.
Oh, wow, very good.
And for now, I got straight A's. I got my 4.0 GPA, so I'm very happy, proud about that. But I'm still working, so it's not a full achievement yet. So I would say my full achievement is for sure my police career. I'm very happy with what I've done, with what I've accomplished, and with the police work I did for several years back in Brussels and Antwerp.
I think that is something to be most noteworthy. Now, following that, what's the biggest personal challenge you have faced? Was it a personal injury, a seemingly overwhelming task, a personal or professional goal, or a difficult situation you had to overcome, or something else? What was the biggest personal challenge you have faced? What would you say that would be?
I think my biggest personal challenge was definitely a 3-year long distance relationship with my what's now husband, trying to make Brussels, New York work for such a long time. He working crazy hours, I'm working crazy hours, finding time to get together at least every 6 weeks here in New York or in or back in Belgium or France or whatever. Where
you did that really? You had to go back and you went back and forth?
I went back and forth for 2 years. I was working 12-hour shifts, easily 25-26 days a month, so I could use the extra hours accumulated by working all those shifts to take 3-4 weeks off so I could come here.
Wow.
Yeah. So I would say that was a big challenge, trying to make this work. Because I didn't want to, we were talking that I was going to move to New York, but I didn't want to move to New York to a total stranger, meaning somebody I didn't live with for at least a bit. So I wanted to come for 3-4 weeks, live together for 4 weeks to see if we were compatible. Because doing a city trip for 4 days with somebody you're in love with, that's going to be amazing every time. But living 4 weeks with somebody in their place, in their natural environment while they are working, that's something totally different.
Yes, it is.
So that's what we try to figure out there, and I would say that's the biggest challenge I had in my life so far.
Very good. Now, following up with that, this is something else. A lot of people have different interpretations of this. what would you say was the transformational moment of your life? Was it a meaningful gift, a reason to belong to something, being a parent, a good job or a bad job, or anything else that was a thing that transformed you into who you are, or it transformed you from what you were to something else?
I would definitely say my police career really transformed me from being, I would say, from being like a 20-year-old party animal going through becoming a more serious person that I was, like understanding what life is. I saw a lot of misery. I saw a lot of people in pain, and it definitely made me like understand and value life better than I ever did before. So I would definitely say my police career changed me towards the person that I am now today. But my current experiences are still like transforming me every day in a better version of myself. So that was a big change in life.
I can see that. Some people had certain things happen to them. And yes, but that is something. That's a very strong, definitive answer, I would imagine. Now, this is my, when I say the most cliche question that I have. What drives you? What gets you up in the morning? What's the motivator? What's the thing that does get you going every day?
I would say my alarm clock, because if the alarm clock doesn't go off, I just stay in bed all day.
Really?
Yeah, of course. Oh my God, I love sleeping. I would say my alarm clock and my cup of coffee are like the two things that like get me going in the morning.
Okay.
I've got so many things going on in my life right now that I definitely like cherish need the small things in life to keep me going.
Okay, very good. That's interesting. Now, this question. I love this question, actually, because the people have responded so far. It's been very surprising, and it's also very enlightening. What's the first thing you want to come to people's minds when they think of you?
That's a very interesting question, Tim, because I'm very self-aware, and I'm like very in my head in what people think about me. You know how some people don't care what people think about them, and they're just themselves. Like I've been called very calculated on some occasions, because people say you're not your true self, but you're like trying to like adapt and being like some kind of chameleon, so people see like the best part of you that they like. So that's why I think this is a very interesting question. And it's very hard to answer. I just would like that people see me like as a friend and a confidant where they can like come towards when when they got a problem. Like I'm a very good listener. Like every gay guy, I love to gossip, but when I feel that somebody comes to me with like something serious, something personal, I can like have a serious talk and like keep to myself what they are saying. So yeah, I would say like friend and like comfort person. They like wanna.
Very good. That's a great response. That's very interesting the way you thought of that. So now this is the one that I think everybody has their own interpretation, their own version of the meaning of this. What is your Zen?
That's definitely my husband, Tim.
Your husband is your Zen.
Oh my God, I'm always nervous, I'm always stressing, and like he's the one that like puts me, I don't want to say puts me in my place, but like makes me like see that I'm overreacting, or that I'm stressing out too much, and that life isn't as hard as I sometimes portray it to be. So he's definitely the one that like puts me in a calm space when I need to be in a calm space.
That's great. That's interesting to know. I've heard other people tell me about different things about their Zen. Certain things people do, the habits, or it's a routine or a practice or something that just gets them to just go in that place.
I'm like as a person, I'm a very nervous person. I'm like very OCD. I'm like always fridging on things. I always like moving I always need to touch something. So I'm like a very stressful person by myself, and I'm like pretty sure that like some internal factor will not create my zen. I will always be I will always be stressed out. So I really need some active external influences to like calm me down, like a good friend or like my husband, like where I used to have like good friends that knew me and that put me down and like just shut up for a second and like just breathe. Like he's that guy for me right now. He's doing a good job there.
That's a great answer. Well, this is the one. This is the question 16. The last question of my 10 questions. The question is, the topic is the threshold. The threshold is, we've all gone there. There's a point of no going back. You realize you've gotten to a place where there is at that point in your life, you realize there's no going back. You've reached something, and maybe you don't want to. Some people are a little bit ambivalent about it, but you know there's no going back. And how did you know when you arrived there? How did it feel to cross it? What was the significance to you? What did you leave behind? What are you glad you left behind? And what do you regret leaving behind?
I would definitely say my marriage is an important threshold. Threshold. Because I never saw it that way, and I was like always the first to say like gay marriage, it's okay to have the right, but like I don't care about it. I'm pretty happy the way I am. But being married right now and before not having the opportunity like feels very important to me. I also married into a Greek family where like nobody ever has a divorce, and like divorce is a very big taboo. So I feel like, not that I'm like thinking about it, but like I can't go back from where I'm now. I only can go forward. And
that's right.
Is there going to be work sometimes? Oh my God, of course. Like marriage is a full-time job, and you need to work on it every day. So, but it's like a good kind of work, you know. It's not a work where you get like money at the end of the day, like a regular job, but you get so much other things that are so much more valuable than money. So that's being said, what did I leave behind? I left behind my family. It's a small family. It's just mom, my brother and sister-in-law, and my grandparents on my mother's side. So that's like a very small family. Do I miss them more because it's a small family? I don't know, because I never experienced a big one. That's like on my husband's side, where he has like 25 first cousins and a bunch of uncles, aunts, and crazy family get-togethers. But I miss them a lot. And on several occasions, I also miss my job. I love what I'm doing right now, but the fulfillment I had when I was a police officer, that fulfillment I haven't felt yet here in New York. So I really hope that at some day in life I find again the fulfillment that I feel now on a personal level back in my professional life.
I hope so too. I absolutely hope that this is what you get out of life.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Tim.
My pleasure. Of course. Now, we're going to start in with the 10 questions that you select. And which one would you like to start off with?
Listen, Tim, your questions were very deep, very interesting. Like when I'm going through these questions, I like discover things about myself that I like let linger away, and like I didn't like memorize or like didn't like evaluate too much. So if it's okay for you, I want to go for the more surface questions today.
However,
and let's see where they bring us.
You'd be surprised at the stuff that people tell me, and everybody has a different flavor. I had someone who grew up in the Midwest and he worked on a farm in the summers.
Amazing.
I have someone who is first generation Indian. He grew up in Iowa, and his parents, his father was a doctor.
Yeah.
Someone else, he grew up in Patterson, New Jersey, and he grew up in a Spanish-speaking house, just like Hugo grew up in a Spanish-speaking house. It's interesting, and then everyone has their different stories to tell. My friend Yongjin grew up in Beijing, China, and he has a number of remarkable stories because the culture is so different. I thought it was more remarkable because I was so ignorant of so many things, and so it may be deceptive. There may be a lot more impact coming from you, you know. And if you're comfortable talking about it, it may be so much more impactful to a listener than you might think, you know. So there's a lot going on there, and I'm going to pause for 1 sec. Okay, so now the question is, what would you do differently?
What would I do differently? Oh, I think like these days I'm so busy. I'm so caught up in life. When I meet new people, I should be like making more effort to like get to know them when it's in a personal way. Like I feel like I meet a lot of people in a professional way, at work, at school, which is very good. But like in a personal way, I feel like I leave a lot up to my husband when we are meeting new people. He like takes all the effort into socializing with them, and I'm just going along with the flow. And I think I should be more actively engaging in making new friends here in New York.
Okay.
That's something That's definitely something I'm working on. Like I'm relying too much on him, and I'm relying too much on my friends I've got back in Belgium, and sometimes that makes me feel isolated. So I need to like get into the game of making new friends.
Very good. I like that. Someone else, I asked them this question, and he had a very poignant answer on this one. Who do you read?
My favorite writer is Stephen King.
Okay.
I love reading horror. I love reading everything that's about him because he's so detailed. His books are big, you know, like a 1,000-page book is like common for him, but it gives you so much information about the characters. You really get to know them. I'm a slow reader, so when I read his books, it takes me like a month to go through one book. And like reading one book a month, being with the characters day by day, you feel like at certain point you feel like you're living their lives, even though it's horror story and like scared to hell at certain points. But since I'm a kid, he's my favorite writer, so I love his books.
It's funny. He used to live in this area. He lived in the West Village, but we used to see him while walking around. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're making me jealous now, Tim.
There was one story I had to say. Bruce was there. My brother was there. We were at a Sunday brunch. It's at a place that's long out of business, and it was nice. And one Sunday, we were sitting there having brunch, and they had the sign with like the foam core on the tripod. You know, standing outside the place with the menu, you know? Mm-hmm. And it was white. It was like that white foam core. And it was reflecting the sunlight bouncing off of the sidewalk, and it was reflecting light off of that. And we look at who's standing there looking at the menu with a smile on his face, and the light's coming up underneath him, giving this unearthly glow. God. But Stephen King. And we go, you know?
I think I would like scream like a little schoolgirl, run to Barnes and Nobles, get one of his books, and like run back, hope he's still there, like just to get like a signed autographed book of his, because I got quite a collection of his books.
We used to see him quite frequently, actually, but that was the one where you go, oh,
yeah, I know.
You know,
I know. That would be amazing.
Yeah, it was terrific. Okay, so this is a great question, and you have an answer, and you have a really interesting answer as well. What is your name? What do you think of when you think of yourself?
So like everybody calls me Timo, and I like the name Timo, especially moving to the States, because my full name is Timothy. And I know here it's like short for Tim. And I don't want to be a Tim. I never identify myself as a Tim because that's a name on itself. So that's why I'm like force people to like call me Timo. I don't want to go by the name Tim. And also my mom named me after Timothy Dalton, which was in the mid 80s when I was born, the James Bond figure of mainstream Hollywood media. And it's funny because I get this question very often, also like in a school settlement, like when you try to get to know each other, and the name question pops up. I'm like very straightforward. I'm named after Timothy Dalton, like a Hollywood actor from the 80s, and like everybody's got like amazing stories about how their name means like enlightenment, hope, like all religiously based names, and then I'm there with my crazy Hollywood story. So although sometimes I feel sad that like, although I know that like Timothy is like the hope for son or God of son, I don't know exactly what it means.
It's honor God.
Honor God. There you go. There you go. So I know it's got like a big biblical meaning as well. But still, I know that I'm not like God enlightenment, but I'm like James Bond, Timothy Dalton. So that's like pretty badass. I like my mom. She's amazing.
Yeah, that's great. And I know the only reason I know what Timothy means is because of my name. But,
there you go. That's something else we got in common.
Yes. Now, here's another one you chose, and people have chosen this question as well, and it's interesting. What is your favorite color, and why?
My favorite color is blue, and I mean like all ranges of blue. Like I like the navy blue very often, especially last week when like all navy boats were in New York, and you see like all the sailors walking by.
Sir.
Then I get back why I like navy blue a lot. But blue in general, Greece is my number one destination. It's the most beautiful, beautiful country on this planet. And when I see like the blue beaches, the water, like it reflects the blue in there. In the Aegean Sea, their flag has got like the white and blue representing like the beautiful beaches. For me, blue is like an amazing summer day or like a cold winter day with beautiful weather or an amazing beach day. So blue for me means like happiness or sexy sailors. So
okay.
That's why I like it a lot.
Well, that's a really good answer. So, going on to the next question. Would you say you are more freewheeling or structured?
I would say I'm like structured, but in a very chaotical way. I don't understand. Sorry, that was my Apple Watch going. That's quite there. Right. I would say I try to be structured. So I got my daily planner. I got everything that I want to do, but then in some kind of way, I'm like always screwing it up, meaning that I'm like not fulfilling it. So I'm like structural, but in a chaotic way. So I try to be, I'm OCD, so I try to like do everything in a certain way that I know that everything is happening, but it doesn't always add up because I can be chaotic as well. If that makes sense.
Yes, it does. And we have had this conversation with you afford yourself the opportunity to be spontaneous. If you have structure, you can get things done. If you don't have any structure, you can flail around. Some people happens to them, but for most of us, they need structure.
Yeah, that's what it is. I like to be spontaneous, but I need a structure as well. And like, it's a good thing to use in the future. That I'm gonna say like I'm structured, but I'm gonna use my spontaneous personality to like identify why my structure sometimes get lost in the daily path.
I think
that's a good thing to keep in mind. I learned something. Thank you, Tim.
You're very welcome. I think that I go back and forth in this because people who work with me, and I've interviewed a number of them. At one point, I became the soul of practicality. And I didn't realize and how much I appreciated being a very practical person.
I know, right?
And it helps me so much because I've had plenty of time in my life where I was spontaneous and I really wanted to go on an instinct or a feeling, and I feel I have done myself so many more favors by actually being someone who can get things done and check things off. And
that's true. Like having a structure in life is important and it gets you somewhere. But I think the best innovations are created by being spontaneous.
I think so. I think we all need the structure to bounce off of.
There you go. Like I think like in life, like 80-90% should be structure, and then you need the 10% of being a freewheeling, being spontaneous, so like you can innovate yourself, and then you'll fall back in the structure with some new elements.
Absolutely.
Makes sense.
I mean, you can build and grow and do a load of things. Spontaneity is spectacular.
Yeah.
And if you can't, I can't personally rely on that. I have to do things in order and be able also to track what I do, keep track of what I do, and then when it's time to deviate from the structure, you have all that room, and you can go back to do that.
Yeah,
but if you were just doing things without, I have to know what I've done.
Yeah.
And I have to know what I'm going to do. And that even though I may deviate from that, and I'll come back, but having that there, that makes it great for me.
Makes sense.
Okay, so next question. What do you want to be better at?
It goes a little bit back with like the previous question. I'm like very structured, but like when I go off my structure path, I'm not being like spontaneous and innovative, but I'm like just being lazy sometimes. You know how you got like a busy life and then all of a sudden it like gets to you and like, I know I got 10 things to do today. It's not work related. I'm not caring for it. I'm just going to sit on the couch and watch television, like binge watch Netflix for the entire day. And I want to be better at that because I want to be like being able more to like creating a structure combined with giving myself free time to do nothing. Decompress. Instead of like going 200% for 5 days, and then instead of the 6th day where your agenda is jammed and you like just like throw everything overboard and do nothing, I would like more do like 6 days where I pressurize everything off, and then the 7th day is my day. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like I try to put too much on my back. I can't say no. Maybe that's like a good answer. I can't say no to anybody. I should be able to say no to people because I always want to do good for them. If somebody asks me something, I want to help them out. So I think that's the bottom line of what I was saying before. Like instead of jamming my agenda full, saying yes to everybody, I should be saying no to people sometimes, so I have also time for myself just to relax and be on the couch and enjoy my alone time.
Very good. I can understand that very much. Everybody needs time to decompress.
Oh my God.
Right?
Do we?
We do. Especially if you live here and you work here. There's a lot of hurly-burly.
Yeah, sometimes people don't understand. Like living in New York it's a blessing because the city gives you a lot, but it also demands a lot from you. And
stimulating and stressful.
Yeah. I didn't understand that until I moved here. Like even when I was visiting the city, like as in the 2 years that I was like coming back and forward, seeing if it would work out with my husband. I was here, but I was a tourist here.
Yeah.
Even though I was like 10 times and I didn't do the tourist attractions anymore, I wasn't working here, so I was still seeing like the golden side of New York.
But only exciting stuff.
Yeah, only the exciting stuff. But like working and living here, you see the golden side of it, which is amazing. But you also feel the demand. It asks from you to like live the lifestyle that you are living here.
Yeah. Plus a lot. It takes a lot out of you.
It takes a lot, indeed.
I also think one of the things about living here, though, is inherent and so great about living here, is you become so exposed to so many different types of people and you can bond with total strangers because you all know, you can see a look on someone's face as a New Yorker. Isn't that great?
That's so great because you meet so many different people from all over the world with all different cultural, political backgrounds.
Yeah.
And if you don't put blindfolds on and you listen to people, you don't always agree with them, but like in everybody's story there is a part of truth that you can like identify with. And like if you listen to people, every time you meet somebody new, you heard their story and it opens your own horizon.
Yes, it certainly does.
You always become something more. I feel like every time I meet somebody, I become somebody more enlightened, being like more throwing off those blindfolds and seeing the world as it is. And that's what New York does to people.
I think that's one of the great benefits of living here. Is I've always said that I'm jealous of people who grew up here, people that see the babies strapped to their parents' chest, and the kids getting the entire world is blasting right in front of their eyes, and they're just absorbing everything, and they get to see the entire so much of humanity, and nothing phases these people. They're the most mellow people I've ever met too.
I have a couple of friends now. One couple, they had just twins. And then two cousins of my husband, they both have had a second child, like the last 2 weeks. And when I see their family, and when I see like the little girls, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and little boys, how they are like absorbing New York and how they are like being there with everybody. And I'm so happy because I think they will have like a good life here.
And a brilliant perspective.
And a brilliant perspective and opportunities.
Yeah,
that's true.
I absolutely agree. So now the question is, this is, I've had a number of people that have decided to go and answer this question, and it's not the same. Everyone has, there's a 50-50, I'd say. Go for A, money, or B, happiness.
Ooh. I want to say that I'm like a politician on that field, and like living here in New York, especially like to come back all the other questions we like answered so far today. I think like you need a certain amount of money to be happy in life. Not too much, because then you get snobby and you don't appreciate anymore anything you're having. But if you're like poor and don't have anything, you're not happy either. So I think you need like just the right amount of money to be happy, and that's different for everybody. Some people need a lot of money to be happy, other people need not a lot of money to be happy, but everybody needs money to be happy. Because to like talk on a sad note, like every day in New York, my husband works at Port Authority in the neighborhood of, I bike down 9th Avenue by 42nd Street on a daily basis when I go to work. It's like all those homeless people that are living there, they don't have money, but I don't feel like they're happy either. They're not smiling, they're not having fun, they're like trying to get money. So everybody needs a little amount of money to be happy.
Well, people think that the money can afford them the things that provide happiness or alleviates the stress that would make them unhappy. A lot of people say that.
And like, I'm not saying to like live the grand luxurious life would give you happiness, but at least you need the money to provide in food, to provide in a house, to provide in clothing, and like in a little bit of luxury, like being able to go on a trip now and then, being able to buy something that isn't a basic need, even if you like need to save up for it a couple of months. That will like create people that create how do you say that? Maybe will create objectives for people in life, like working towards something creates happiness. But I think you need both. So I would say A and B are needed to create like a full life of happiness.
Okay, very good. I have a story. I don't know if you know who David Lee Roth is. He was a singer. He's a rock singer. He was in a band with Van Halen.
Okay, Van Halen, I know.
He was in the original Van Halen.
Okay.
And he very famously said, money can't buy happiness, but it can buy a boat big enough to pull it right next to it. So.
No, that's what I mean. Yeah, indeed. Like, money should be the means to get your happiness, And some people need a lot of money to be happy. some people don't need money to be happy. Some people are like happy with like a little bit. Some people have so much money that they don't know what happiness is anymore, which also isn't good.
Yeah.
But I'm surely think like I'm a capitalist. Like you need a little bit of money to be happy.
Okay, fair enough. Now, what is your favorite weather?
Ooh. My favorite weather is a dry, sunny afternoon or a blue sky, cold winter day. One of both.
Okay.
As I'm come from Belgium, which is a country with like a lot of like plain weather, a lot of rainy weather. So I appreciate very much blue sky. But if I need to put on a jacket to enjoy it, or if I can put on like a little bathing suit to be at the beach, as long as it's like one of both extremes, I'm very happy.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm a quite I would say I'm an Irish sweater, and it can be between 39 and 63, and I never complain. And light jacket weather's for me. Other people have their own. Everyone has their own opinion and their own feeling, and it's all valid. And I think that's very good. So now we're going to come to the last of our 20 questions, and the last question that you've selected. What is your most treasured possession?
My most treasured possession is the day I was born, I was wrapped into a blanket, and I still have that and carry that on like pretty often with me as much as possible. It's like something for one or the other reason I can't let go of. You know, like some people have like their teddy bears or like a baseball card or a baseball bat from their small. Like I still have that like birth blanket, and it's always around. It's always somewhere. It gives me comfort. It's like gives me like a safe place, safe feeling. You know what I mean?
You have an actual real security blanket.
Yes.
You actually
you can like call it like that. Yeah. Yeah. And I know like many people are like, oh my god, you're like 30 years old, and why do you still carry that around? Like I'm like it's comfort. It's like it's nice to have it there because and also for me right now it gives me like a connection to my home country, to my parents, to my childhood, to everything. So it's helpful. Yeah.
I think that's completely valid. One of our guests, my first guest, Garrett Vorbeck, he has his most treasured possession is a horseshoe. And he says that the first thing he does whenever he moves in any place is he nails the horseshoe up with the prongs pointing up to keep the luck in.
Okay.
And that's a superstition. And he also says that's the last thing he takes when he leaves any place. And it's so meaningful to him that he has it tattooed on his right bicep.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yes.
I would never tattoo my blanket on my arm. So like that's a good thing. But it's good to have it around. Yeah. It brings good. It also brings back good memories.
So that's great.
It brings back memories. So that's.
I think that's terrific. So that brings us to the end of our 20 questions with interesting people with Timo de Ridder. As the kiddies say, peace out. We'll see you soon.
Yes, peace out. See you soon.
Thank you so much for being a part of this, Timo. And again, folks, we'll see you soon. Peace out, kiddies.